The global tapestry from circa 1200 to circa 1450. Understand the context. Between 1200 and 1450, several large empires emerged around the world. Some were modified revivals of earlier empires in their region. Others represented new developments. All were shaped by the context of regional trade, which had been increasing since around 600. The revival of large empires between 1200 and 1450, the wealthiest and most innovative empire in the world was the Song dynasty in China. It was the latest in a series of states that had ruled a unified and prosperous China. Similarly, in Mesoamerica, the rise of the Aztec was influenced by an earlier empire under the Mayans. Two other centers of great intellectual achievement, Baghdad and Spain, reflected the emphasis on learning in the Islamic world. However, in parts of Africa and Southeast Asia, the growth of regional trade produced larger and more complex states that had previously existed in these regions. Trade across the Sahara resulted in the West African empires of Ihana and Mali. Trade in the Indian Ocean provided the context for large states in Zimbabwe and East Africa, and various states in India and Southeast Asia. Unity in Central Eurasia, shaping the context for events throughout Eurasia between 1200 and 1450 was the remarkable emergence of the Mongols, a group of nomads from Central Asia. The Mongols conquered lands from Central Europe to the Pacific Ocean, creating the largest land empire in human history. The conquest came with great devastation. However, the unity of so much territory under the rule of one group allowed trade to flourish once again across Eurasia, with new ideas and technology spreading easily. These developments set the stage for the intensifying global interaction that helped define the period after 1450. The Song dynasty, developments in East Asia. From now on, our ordinances will be properly enforced and the morality of our people will be restored. The Ming, quoted by the Ming Dynasty Prohibition Ordinance. The central question of this unit is, how did developments in China and the rest of East Asia between circa 1200 and circa 1450 reflect continuity, innovation, and diversity? The Song dynasty in China, from 960 to 1279, was the leading example of diversity and innovation in Afro-Eurasia and the Americas during the 13th century. China enjoyed great wealth, political stability, and fine artistic and intellectual achievements. Neo-Confucian teachings, illustrated in the above quotation, supported the government and shaped the social classes and the family system. In addition, China developed the greatest manufacturing capability in the world. However, the spread of Confucianism and Buddhism might be the most enduring testimony to Chinese influence. The Song dynasty replaced the Tang in 960 and ruled for more than 3 centuries. They lost control of northern lands to invading pastoralists from Manchuria who set up the Jin Empire. Although the Song ruled a small region from the Tang, their reign was prosperous and under them the arts flourished. Bureaucracy. China's strength was partially the result of its imperial bureaucracy, a vast organization in which appointed officials carried out the empire's policies. The bureaucracy had been a feature of China's government since the Qin dynasty, 1221 before current era to 207 before current era. It represented a continuity across centuries and dynasties. Under the Song, China's bureaucracies expanded. Early in the dynasty, this strengthened the dynasty meritocracy and civil service exam. One of Emperor Song Taisu's great achievements was that he expanded the educational opportunities to young men of the lower economic classes so that they could score well in the civil service exams. By scoring well, a young man could obtain a highly desired job in the bureaucracy. These exams were based on knowledge of Confucian texts because officials obtained their positions by demonstrating their merit. On these exams, China's bureaucratic system were known as meritocracy. Alright, sorry about that. It says China's bureaucratic system was known as a meritocracy. Though the poor were vastly underrepresented in the bureaucracy, the Chinese system allowed for more upward mobility than any other hiring system of its time. However, by the end of the Song, the bureaucracy had grown so large that it contributed to the empire's weakness by creating so many jobs and by paying these officials so handsomely. The Song increased the cost of government to the point that they began drying up China's surplus wealth.